Your life does not begin in a hospital or a family home, but inside the cold, sterile chamber of Krypton's Genesis chamber. You weren't born in the traditional sense, you were engineered. As your eyes open for the very first time, bright artificial lights shine through the glass around you, while complex machines hum softly in the background. A robotic voice calmly announces your designation, Van Z. Congratulations, you now have a name. Van is your personal identifier. While Z represents the noble house your genetic material comes from, even your identity was determined before you ever took your first breath. On Krypton, children are no longer born naturally. Instead, they are designed through advanced genetic engineering, carefully crafted to serve specific roles within society. Long before you existed, government algorithms decided that someone with your exact genetic profile would be needed. 2 Kryptonians were selected as your biological contributors. Their DNA combined and perfected inside the Genesis chamber to create you. As the fluid around you drains away, the reality of Krypton hits instantly, literally. The planet's gravity is overwhelming. Nearly 40 times stronger than Earth's, pressing down on your body like an invisible weight. Your muscles struggle to move at first, but Kryptonian biology is built to adapt. Around you, the entire planet runs on incredible technology powered by mining energy from Krypton's unstable core. From your very first moment of life, one thing is already clear. You were never meant to choose your own destiny. Your purpose was designed long before you existed. On Krypton, no one grows up wondering what they will become when they are older. Your future was decided before you were even created. Every Kryptonian is genetically engineered for a specific role that keeps the entire society functioning in perfect balance. Some are designed to become leaders who serve on the High Council. Others are crafted to be warriors, engineers, laborers, or religious figures. From the moment you are created in the Genesis chamber, your abilities and limitations are already carefully programmed. In your case, the system assigns you to the Science Guild. Your genetic structure has been optimized for intelligence, analytical thinking, and problem solving. Traits like physical strength, charm, or social influence were considered less important and therefore received far less attention in your design. Kryptonian society values efficiency above everything, and every citizen is built to serve the needs of the state as effectively as possible. Even the people you call your parents were selected by the system. A government algorithm analyzed the population and determined that combining their DNA would produce the ideal scientists needed for the future. To them, being chosen as genetic contributors is considered a great honor, almost like winning a lottery. But the reality is that reproduction on Krypton is less about love and more about planning. From the very beginning of your life, your identity is not your own. It belongs to the needs of Kryptonian society. Growing up on Krypton is nothing like the childhood most people would imagine. Technically, you have parents, the 2 individuals whose genetic material was used to create you, but the relationship is distant and formal rather than warm or emotional. Kryptonian society values efficiency, logic, and discipline far more than affection. Your parents might acknowledge your accomplishments or give a small nod of approval when you succeed at something impressive, but that is usually the extent of their praise. Simple gestures like hugs, laughter, or playful family moments are rare. This emotional distance is not meant to be cruel. It is simply how Kryptonians have lived for generations. Your parents themselves were raised by the same rigid system, taught to prioritize productivity and duty above personal feelings. As a result, most Kryptonians never truly learn how to express affection in the first place. Love, warmth, and emotional bonding are seen as unnecessary distractions from the responsibilities each citizen has toward the state. Because of this, childhood on Krypton feels more like preparation than exploration. Your life is carefully structured from the very beginning, with every step guiding you toward the role you were designed to fulfill. Instead of spending time building strong family connections, you spend your early years developing the skills and knowledge required for your assigned profession. On Krypton, childhood isn't about discovering who you want to be, it's about becoming exactly what the system planned for you. By the time you reach the age of 4, your childhood officially gives way to training. You are enrolled in a state-controlled institution for science, a place designed to turn children like you into the next generation of Krypton's intellectual elite. Your classroom looks nothing like a traditional school. Instead of colorful rooms or friendly teachers, you sit inside a sterile chamber, illuminated by holographic projections. Lessons appear in the air around you, displaying complex simulations and equations while an artificial intelligence instructor guides the class. Subjects that most worlds would consider advanced quantum physics, genetic engineering, and planetary energy systems are simply part of your daily curriculum. Human teachers are almost non-existent here. Kryptonians believe machines are more precise, more efficient, and less prone to error. Every lesson is carefully measured, and every task is graded instantly. Each day begins with evaluations and ends with performance scores that determine your ranking among the other students. The children around you are technically your peers, but they are not friends. They are competitors, all striving to reach the top of their guild rankings. Curiosity for its own sake is not encouraged. The system does not reward creative thinking or philosophical questions, it rewards results. Your role is simple: identify problems and solve them as quickly and efficiently as possible. Falling behind has serious consequences. If your performance drops, you may be reassigned to a lower status role or placed under the supervision of an AI tutor designed to analyze your weaknesses and relentlessly push you toward perfection. When you reach the age of 16, everything you have worked toward your entire life comes down to a single moment: the rite of proficiency. This is the final examination that determines whether you are truly worthy of the role Krypton designed you for. Years of education, testing, and relentless competition have all been preparing you for this one event. If you succeed, you will officially join the Science Guild and take your place among Krypton's intellectual elite. If you fail, it means all the resources the state invested in you were wasted, and Kryptonian society has very little tolerance for wasted potential. You are led into a massive simulation chamber where the test begins. Suddenly, a complex scenario appears before you. An entire planet's energy grid is collapsing. Power systems are failing. Infrastructure is breaking down. And millions of lives are theoretically at risk. Your task is simple in theory, but incredibly difficult in practice. Identify the cause of the failure and restore the system before total collapse occurs. This is the moment your genetic design was meant for. Every equation you studied and every problem you solved has prepared you for this challenge. With careful analysis and relentless focus, you work through the system step by step until the grid stabilizes. When the simulation ends, the result is clear: you passed. At 16 years old, you are now officially a member of the Science Guild and recognized as an adult in Kryptonian society. After officially joining the Science Guild, your life settles into the role Krypton designed for you. You begin working in the vast laboratories of Kandor, one of the most advanced scientific centers on the planet. Here, your days are filled with research, calculations, and endless analysis. Your work often involves studying Kryptonian genetics and monitoring the long-term stability of your people's engineered biology. Every project is another step in the relentless pursuit of scientific progress that defines Kryptonian society. By the time you reach your early 20s, something unusual happens. Your aging almost completely slows down. Kryptonians are capable of living for centuries, sometimes even thousands of years. The young face you see in the mirror now will remain almost unchanged for generations. While people on other worlds might watch their youth slowly fade, you will look the same for hundreds of years as your long life stretches ahead of you. From the outside, Krypton appears to be the perfect civilization. There is no poverty, no crime, and no war. Every citizen has a role carefully designed for them, ensuring that society functions with flawless efficiency. Illness has nearly been eliminated thanks to advanced medical technology. And Kryptonian scientists have developed methods for traveling across space and even exploring other dimensions. Yet, despite all of this progress, life on Krypton follows a strict and predictable path. Your existence becomes defined by research, duty, and the constant drive to improve the system that keeps the entire planet running. At first glance, Krypton appears to be a flawless civilization. Its cities are filled with incredible technology. Its citizens live long and healthy lives. And every system operates with near-perfect efficiency. But the longer you live within this society, the more you begin to notice the hidden cost of that perfection. Krypton achieved its stability by sacrificing something essential: individuality. Every citizen is designed to serve a specific role, and stepping outside that role is almost unthinkable. Creativity, personal expression, and art are treated as unnecessary distractions rather than meaningful parts of life. There are no spontaneous career choices, no dreams about becoming something different, and no real opportunity to explore who you might want to be. Your purpose was determined before you were even born, and the expectation is that you will fulfill it without hesitation. Emotional relationships are also limited. While Kryptonians form partnerships and families through the Genesis Chamber system, those connections are guided by genetic planning rather than personal desire. Love, passion, and individuality are secondary to the needs of the state. Citizens are expected to place the survival and progress of Krypton above their own feelings. Over time, you begin to see how rigid and impersonal the system truly is. Krypton may look like a utopia from the outside, but living inside it reveals a quieter truth. Beneath all the technological brilliance and perfect order, the people of Krypton live highly controlled lives, with very little freedom to shape their own destinies. As the years pass and your work in Krypton's laboratories continues, you begin to notice subtle signs that something isn't quite right. At first, it's easy to ignore. A few small tremors shake the ground beneath the city of Kandor. Minor system reports mention unusual fluctuations in the planet's energy output. But over time, these events start happening more frequently. Quiet rumors begin circulating among scientists, whispers that something deep within Krypton's core might be becoming unstable. Driven by curiosity and concern, you start digging deeper into the archives. Eventually, you stumble across a set of classified simulations buried in the government's data network. What you find is shocking. According to the calculations, Krypton's core is becoming dangerously unstable due to centuries of energy extraction. The models predict a 99.8% chance that the entire planet will collapse within the next 50 years. Alarmed, you bring the discovery to your superiors, expecting urgent action. Instead, you are met with calm dismissal. Your supervisor barely reacts, simply explaining that the files have already been reviewed by higher authorities. The data has been labeled irrelevant. The official position of the government is that Krypton is a perfect system, stable, advanced, and eternal. Questioning that belief is not encouraged. You are reminded that your role is not to challenge the system, but to maintain it. In Kryptonian society, scientists solve problems, but they are not supposed to question whether the system itself might be doomed. After more than a century of quietly working in Krypton's laboratories, something unexpected finally enters your carefully structured life: love. One day, a woman named Lara L. arrives at your lab on official business. She belongs to the Warrior Guild and has been assigned to review parts of the genetic archives for her department. At first, your conversations are strictly professional, discussing data, research records, and technical procedures. But over time, those conversations grow longer. You begin to realize that the two of you share the same curiosity about the world and the same quiet frustration with Krypton's rigid system. For the first time in your long life, something feels different. Being around Lara makes the endless routines of work feel lighter. Her presence reminds you that life could be more than calculations and laboratory reports. What begins as a professional relationship slowly becomes something deeper, something Kryptonian society rarely allows its citizens to experience. Genuine emotional connection, but Krypton's system does not leave much room for personal choices. Eventually, the government's central computer assigns you a reproduction partner through the genetic planning program. The system has determined that another scientist from your guild would produce a child with the most useful traits for society. Your feelings for Lara are never even considered in the decision. On Krypton, love might exist, but it has no authority over the plans of the state. Eventually, the system calls upon you to fulfill another responsibility expected of every Kryptonian citizen: parenthood. Together with the partner assigned to you by the government's genetic program, you travel to the Genesis Chamber, the same sterile facility where your own life once began. Inside the chamber, rows of glowing pods display potential children, each represented by detailed genetic profiles projected in the air. Every option has been carefully engineered, optimized for specific abilities and roles within Kryptonian society. Intelligence levels, resilience, cognitive potential. Every trait can be measured and compared. You and your partner carefully review the options, analyzing them the way scientists would evaluate any important project. Eventually, you select the child whose genetic structure shows the greatest potential for scientific excellence. In doing so, you unknowingly continue the same cycle that created you. Another life designed not for personal freedom, but for the needs of the state. When your son finally enters the world, his upbringing follows the same path yours did. He is raised primarily within state institutions and educated by AI systems designed to shape him into the perfect member of the Science Guild. You see him occasionally, observing his progress, more like supervisors than parents. Krypton remains efficient, stable, and technologically unmatched. Yet beneath that flawless order lies something deeply missing. In the end, the true tragedy of being born Kryptonian is not the planet's eventual destruction. It's living in a world where perfection has slowly replaced humanity, leaving its people brilliant, disciplined, and profoundly alone.